that we not only give love in these love languages, I think our languages of receiving loves also differ. Father is a very non-expressive person, but whenever he'll go and drop me off on the railway station while I was going back to college, he'll just pat my back and it would be like, just take care, be a good kid, stuff like that. Hi you guys, welcome to Afran and Personal. Here is your host Ananya, all set to become Afran and Personal with each and every one of you listening. I hope you all are having a very beautiful, productive day full of love. Now you'll ask me, why am I wishing you lots of love? It's because today's topic is as such. I mean, I want you guys to have love in general as well. But today we are going to talk about love languages. You guys, we are going to talk about this, and I picked up this topic because when I figured out that there are multiple love languages and it's not just touch or words through which people express their love, my mind was blown away, and I thought that it was quite a fantastic idea to, read more about, talk more about, and explore more about. So I have done my research and I have some thoughts. So grab a cup of tea or coffee and let's just talk about this. So love languages as a concept means that everyone has different ways of expressing their love. Like we all speak Hindi, English, Marathi, Bangla, Spanish, and there is no universal language for speaking. There is also no universal manner or language for expressing love. Now, a lot of love stories, movies, shows, everything that we watch, it has taught us that, listen, only when someone, comes running to you and hugs you, that's love. If somebody brings you flowers and chocolates and all those cliche gifts and says, I love you, then that's love. But it's not true. Also, we are not just talking about romantic love here. We are talking about platonic love. We are talking about love between two friends, love between a mother and the kids, love between brother and sister. Love can exist in any shape or form and any capacity between any two people. I think people get really misunderstood if they don't say I love you, if they don't say I care for you. And I understand at some occasions you would really want them to say these words. You would really want them to be more expressive, because sometimes we really want to be on the receiving end of a lot of expression of love that's just unyielding, of love that's abundant. And I get that desire. I have been at the other end of that desire, so I understand that. But sometimes people do these subtle things which, because they are not touch or words, we feel like they don't love us and they are just doing it because it's their habit. But just even sitting here and just talking about and just sitting here in the presence of the thought that love can come in many shapes or forms and there can be different love languages, can actually explain a lot, and can actually explain a lot of other people's behaviors towards us as well. And maybe we were also those people where our love languages were misunderstood and unreciprocated. And sometimes we also don't understand what kind of languages and manners in which we like to express our love. So basically there are 5 love languages. Number 1 is the most popular, the most prominent, is touch. So as I said, people often feel like if somebody hugs you or if somebody touches you, that's love. And they should not only touch you, they should just tell you that I am touching you because. So word and touch are the most expressive and most overly romanticized languages that there are. But I think touch is not just that, because we are not only talking about romantic love, we are talking about love in different capacities. I feel like when I'm just really working hard and my mother comes and she puts her hand on my head because I'm really working hard and I'm really getting tired, I think that's because she is concerned and she wants to express her love in that way. Whenever my father would go, my father is a very non-expressive person, but whenever he'll go and drop me off on the railway station while I was going back to college, he'll just pat my back and it would be like, just take care, be a good kid, stuff like that. So maybe they're not saying that I'm proud of you that you're working so hard, or maybe I care for you, don't get tired, or I will miss you while you're gone. But maybe that pat on the back or that pat on the head, I think, is their way of expressing that. So touch also comes in many forms, shapes and manners. We just have to look for it. Number 2, words. So how will a person whose love language is words will express love, they will just say it out loud. They'll make a show about it. They'll give a speech. They'll maybe write you poetry. If they're not good with writing words, they will say these words. They will always tell you like 10,000 times, I love you. Now, again, as we said, words are the love language that we feel like words is the only way in which you can express your love. And I understand there are people who prefer saying things. They just want to say, I love you, I care for you, I miss you. But not all of us are very comfortable in saying these things out loud. That's why I think we take recourse to different languages. Whereas I think everyone expects us to just say these things, which is not true. Sometimes I think second thing of spectrum also happens, that if your love language is words, you feel like I said I love you twice today, so I'm not gonna repeat it. Or maybe people will think that I'm too clingy, maybe people will think that I am too over expressive or talkative and whatnot. You know what, just go ahead and say it. It does not matter. If your love language is words, own up to it. And if you expect people to also say it, just talk to them about it and tell that you want to receive love in words. But also be very respectful of other people whose love languages could differ. Number third, the third love language is gifting. Now, I feel that gifting has a very negative connotation to it. Like, what do you mean? People will say that, oh, gifting means they want to buy us off and they want to give us like luxury gifts so that we fall in their love or fall in their charm or whatever. But it's not about that. Love language as gifting means that somebody has put in a thought. Somebody really wants to give us a gift because there's a thought behind it. I really don't care if somebody gives me a Mercedes or like really expensive gifts. It's not the monetary value. Even if you gift me this pen, the fact that you understand that I really like cute stationeries and my favorite color is pink, I think I really appreciate that. And this pen is worth more than anything else that you'll buy just out of a catalog, or just maybe, just maybe you want to give me a random gift because an occasion is coming up or my birthday is coming up, which is, by the way. So I think it loses its purpose in then. I think people who really like to gift and who like to express their genuine love and concern through gifting, they take recourse to this love language because they like to put thought in things. They are not really comfortable in touching, they're not really comfortable in saying those words. So they bring you things and they're like, listen, I remember that conversation. Listen, I remember that you were saving up for this thing. Listen, I would really like to contribute to whatever you were saving up for. Or maybe, I think you need this. Maybe you're starting a new job, so maybe you need an umbrella. Anything of that sort. And I have in my life, met a lot of friends, fortunately, and a lot of family members, and I have understood by looking at them and observing them that their main primary love language was gifting. And I could see how much thought they were putting into these things. Gifting is a very legitimate love language. We shouldn't say that it's just buying people off. Number 4, quality time. Some people like to really just sit together and just talk and indulge in any kind of activity which either they like or the other person likes, or maybe an activity that they like to do together. I mean, it depends on their equation and relationship, and hence express their love. They like to take time out of their busy schedules and give to the people they love and care about. I think it's a very beautiful love language. I mean, I'm not pitting love languages against each other, obviously, but I think it's a very beautiful love language because of the sheer fact that right now I think time is the biggest currency. If people would have everything, people would have abundant money, people would have everything, but they would not give you time. And not just time, but quality time. That means not touching your phone while you're talking to me. If you're playing a game with me, you're not thinking about 10,000 things. Quality time means it's their time, your full attention, full presence is required. Only then it becomes quality time. I have found that kids really like quality times. I think kids really enjoy giving and receiving love in the form of quality time. Like if you just sit with a kid, and like I have a 2.5-year-old niece, right? She wants nothing because again, they don't understand touch and words and this and that much. But if I just go to her and say that I really love you and move on and never spend quality time with her, she doesn't care about it. I really love her so much, but that she is not in the intellectual stage where she can receive love through words or touch. I'll go and hug her, she's going to forget that hug in like 1 second. But if I stay with her for half an hour, even though I'm busy, I just sit with her and I play with her, and even though we are at different intellectual wavelengths completely, she would really cherish that and enjoy that. So yeah, fifth is act of service. So act of service also has many negative connotations attached to it, which means people obviously, always assume for some reason or the other that act of service means servitude. But again, these are love languages. So the underlining basis of these love languages is that there should be love in the first place. So if you don't have love, it doesn't matter. So an act of service that's coming out of exploitation or force or undue influence is not a love language. Somebody who is maybe bringing you a cup of coffee at the end of the day, not because you want them to bring it or because it's their duty or because because of there's a power imbalance in your relationship, that's not a love language. But if somebody is doing that nevertheless out of their own discord because they think you must be tired, or maybe just pressing your feet at the end of the day because they feel like you might be tired or you might need this or you might really like it. Like sometime my mother, she'll bring me a cup of tea. It's very kind of her, and I really like that because she understands that when I get really stressed, I like to munch in things and I really like to drink a lot of water and maybe have a cup of tea. She'll bring it to my table, and yeah, that would be her way of expressing love and concern for me. That simple cup of tea. Now, these are the 5 love languages, right? Pretty simple to understand. There is no rocket science in this. But the thing is, I wanted to discuss this because I feel like we need to understand that we not only give love in these love languages, I think our languages of receiving loves also differ. Like for me, let's just talk about me for a second because I don't talk about myself enough on this podcast anyways. So for me, if you ask about my love languages are actually multiple because you can have multiple love languages. Out of these 5, 4 of them are mine. I really like touching people. I really enjoy expressing my love and gratitude and concern through touch. I love to hold hands. I love to hug people. I, of course, really like to say this. If I love you and if if you mean a lot to me, there is 99.999% chances that I have said this to you. The only probability in which I have not said this to you because maybe I think you don't love me back or you don't have the same concern for me, or maybe because you don't have a working internet connection. Otherwise, I would have said that to you. And I also really like gifting things to people and putting a lot of thought in it. And I also really like spending quality time. I'm not addicted to my phone. I would really enjoy just putting my phone aside and just being away from that and just have some quality time with that person. The only time when I'm spending quality time with anyone and I still am attached to the phone if I'm talking to that person on the phone. Otherwise, I just keep it aside and I love giving my time to other people. The only love language in which I do not express my love is act of service. It's maybe because of my privileged or entitled nature or whatever. Like, it's not like there's an ego issue, but I don't really prefer act of service to express my love. Like, of course, if you have a headache, I'm going to press your head. If my mother wants me to press her feet, I will do that, but they have to ask. My first instinct is not to go for act of service. However, when it comes to receiving, I really like receiving touch and words, because again, touch and words are love languages. If they are not reciprocated in the same manner, I think it's really hurts and it doesn't work that way. If I say I love you to you and you say okay, not gonna go down well. You have to say it back even though your love language is not that. And that's how, I don't know, it's not fair on the other person whose love language might not be words, but that's how it works. That's how our minds work, and we are not accustomed and wired to see it any other way. Touch. If I hold your hand, I would really not like you to take your hand back and go away and just run into oblivion. I would not like that. So touch and words are things that are very reciprocatory languages, and the same goes for quality time. However, when it comes to gifting and acts of service, they're different. When it comes to active gifting, even though I like gifting things to people, I am very okay with people not gifting things to me. I mean, if you if you choose to gift me anyways because your love language happens to be gifting, I would always, eternally be grateful for that. But it is not really necessary for me. Like, if you don't gift me anything ever, but reciprocate my touch and words and quality time, I will be fine. However, and it is very selfish of me, the next sentence that I'm going to say, I don't like giving act of service. Like, that's not my preferred love language, but I love receiving love in that form. If somebody presses my feet at the end of the day, if somebody massages my head and puts, like, when my mother puts oil in my hair, or when she brings me tea, or when my father does anything for me, or when my friends do anything for me in that manner, I definitely enjoy it. So I feel like we forget sometimes that our language of receiving and giving gifts, giving love, could be completely different, and then there is the discord. I think, we stand here in the presence of knowledge that people are different. People have different ways of expressing all kinds of emotions. Even when they're angry, some people will get really quiet, some people will start throwing things, and of course, if you are throwing things when you're angry, you have anger issues. Some people would really like just say it in words, right? Some people would resort to violence, which is absolutely unhealthy. But I'm saying that people are different, and the same goes with love, but we don't really acknowledge that. So even while acknowledging it, even while stating and sitting here in the presence of the fact and the knowledge that people have different love languages, I think makes life a lot easier. And not even like human beings, I think animals also have love languages. If you have a pet animal, you would really notice that your pet animal also has a preferred language of love. They can't speak, they can't speak in the traditional sense of languages, but if they come and if they bring a ball and they go to you and give that ball to you and be like, okay, play with me, obviously they're not saying that to you, but giving that indication, that means their love language is quality time. If you're working on your laptop and your dog comes and he puts its paws on you, that means the love language is touch. When you come back home and your pet animals, they start making noises, they start barking, whatever pet animal you have, that means that the love language is words. And again, act of service. My friend had a dog, and whenever she'll leave her house, she would always look for her socks, and the dog knew where the socks were, so he'll always bring the socks and give it to her, because that's an act of service, because he understands in some kind of untangible way that she needs socks because she's going out and that's her daily routine. Now, gifting, I don't understand how animals will express it anyways, but I think there's this really funny interview of Swara Bhaskar where she says that she has 3 cats, and whenever she would come back home initially, her bed would be lined up with the bugs and lizards and mice, like all the rodents that the cats have killed. And she would be really concerned as to why her cats are doing that, why her cats are just ordaining the bed with these rodents that they have killed. But actually, the vet told her cats want to gift her those things, because that's maybe their love language is gifting. So I think that's a very beautiful way to look at that. And animals, animals, they can't speak, so they resort to these things. Sometimes we human beings also can't speak, so we resort to these things. So don't feel bad if you have one love language or the other. If you have a love language, think about these 5 love languages. I never give you guys homework, I believe, but now I'm going to give you a homework, all right? Go and think about what is your preferred love language, and anybody that you love and care for in any capacity whatsoever in your life, just think about how they like to express their love, and just talk about your love languages. I think if you have any issues, they will get really sorted out and condensed if you guys just know that the other person has this love language of giving and receiving love, and you express yours. I think it's all the relationships are based on and founded on confound understanding. So I think big things can really get solved by little effort and lots of solid communication. So go and keep spreading love in whatever language you prefer. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!